What's good, everybody? It's Nova and welcome back to another video. Now, this video is a little bit different than all the other videos that I make because it's more of a voiceover rather than a, live commentary, but I decided that I should try something a little bit different because, why not? Anyway, so today we're going to be playing through the entirety of Terraria 1.0 because this isn't necessarily the version that I started on, but I started on Terraria 1.1 and I kind of want to go through the history of Terraria, so I will be doing this for 1.1 and 1.2 eventually. I don't know when the fuck I'll do that, but it is what it is. So, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. So I started creating my character, and I tried to make it look somewhat like me. I don't fucking know. Look at these fucking colors. How the fuck I need my slide bar. I'm special. I can't mix colors like this. Now, every great character needs a great name, so I bestowed this honor upon my best friend Patrick, who in no doubt will give us the best name possible. Give me a name, Patrick. Give me a name.
Bumperdink.
Fucking excellent. I will make sure never to trust this autist with naming my great characters again, because who the fuck is going to fear the wrath of Bumperdink? Anyway, insecurity's better name aside, we load into the world and then we start immediately deforestation. With no regard for the well-being of the wildlife around us, we need these trees to complete the game. Fuck you guys. We start construction on a new home that will house all of our NPCs, and in turn they will sell us goods and services. Now in this version there's only like fucking, I don't know, 5 of them. I mean, I think I only get like 6 in the playthrough, but I mean like, we still got to get them goods and services. The merchant sells us arrows, which will be integral to us killing all of the bosses in the game, because there's only like 4. And before we go, take a look at those old crafting table and table textures. That shit looks uncanny as fuck. It's incredible how much the textures have changed from this version to 1.4. After that, we just build another fucking room on top of the house that we already have, and then we venture out to the right of the world and find fuck all, not even a damn chest. I'm completely pissed, and I just used the old age technique of leaving the world and come back to spawn. By the time I get back to spawn, it's already fucking nighttime. So to pass the time during the nighttime, I start construction on a elevator that will be integral to us getting our minerals. And all is going well until the fucking zombie decides to put its fat fucking ass right in our face, killing us in mere seconds. After that traumatic endeavor, I jump down the same hole, expecting not to fucking die, but once again being wrong. So after dying in the same hole twice, I decide to go find another hole to maybe live in, but no, I fucking die again. So I try for a 4th time, and surprisingly, I don't die prematurely going into a hole. But the more devastating fact is that there's a fucking underground jungle right in my fucking base. Surprisingly, I don't die to the jungle enemies immediately, and I decide to mine up this gold that I found just sitting right there, so that's nice. And then I find a jungle shrine right below said gold that I had just mined. I am so happy that I forgot that I am not in fact a fish, and I fucking drown right then and there. Instead of going back down into the caves after my drowning endeavor, I decide to make a majestic, classic igloo-looking furnace, and then I smelt all of my bars and then immediately go right back down into the caves. Now back in the underground jungle, my retarded ass is able to get to the jungle shrine without fucking drowning, and I find a nice pair of feral claws along with some arrows and some health potions and glass. Now the loot I found in the chest left a lot to be desired, but anything that offers to help me in this outdated hellhole is definitely a welcome one, because as you can see, I'm getting my ass handed to me by a fucking hornet and I only do 1 damage. And of course, as you expected, that is definitely not a battle that I will win. Now, after being the victim of the underground jungle for the 17th fucking time, I decide that enough is enough, and I decide to go over to the left side of the world to see if I can find literally anything that can help me in this outdated hellhole. And then I find more fucking jungle. Now, I was of the impression that the above ground jungle did not exist in these old versions, but apparently I just looked it up that on the wiki it says that the above ground jungle was added in this version. While the above ground jungle may sound like a great addition to the game of Terraria, it is actually fucking detrimental to my health because my wooden sword and my measly 5 hearts could not get past that in any way, shape, or form. So with the left side of the world completely blocked off because of the fucking above ground jungle, I decide to go back into another hole, and it once again leads me to said underground jungle. Now, this mining trip actually went pretty well. I got lots of iron, and also, look, another fucking jungle shrine. I wonder what it has. With great anticipation, I open up the chest, and I realize that the chest has complete dog shit in it, and I am deeply upset by this. But no worries, another jungle shrine was just below the other one, and look, my first heart crystal, my first glimmer of hope in this hellhole of an outdated land that this version is. Now, while the shrine and the life crystal look simple enough to get, this bitch-ass hornet will just not give me any fucking leeway to get it, so I have to use a strict maneuver using mud blocks and just my hopes and dreams to be able to access whatever treasure this thing has. Now, if you're wondering what this chest has, it's not as shit as the last chest, but still pretty shit. I mean, what can I even ask for? I mean, it's Terraria 1.0. There's probably like 2 items in the game that are even good. Now, of course, a second later, I die. But then I realize my boy the merchant moves in, and I buy a nice anvil from him so I can finally start building some alright tools so I can actually navigate the world without everything fucking me. Now, with the anvil, I make a gold sword, which heavily upgrades my arsenal of weapons, and then I build another house so that I may store my items and also house another NPC. After doing all that, I go back into the caves, and I specifically try to avoid the jungle here because I simply can't survive in the jungle yet. Every time I enter it, I just end up dying. And as you can see, all the fucking Hornets AI, they can just detect you through walls. Which is very fun, by the way. I'm having a fucking great time playing this. After successfully avoiding the jungle, I am now back in the regular caves, and honestly, it went really well. Got lots of ore and all that. Also found another life crystal, but I couldn't mine it because, of course, I end up fucking dying because I guess this is becoming a theme. I'm just bad at Terraria, I guess. After dying for the millionth time, I come right back to the cave to collect my life crystal, and what can also be said as a successful mining expedition is I find lots more minerals. I actually find another life crystal and also an underground chest which doesn't have shit in it. It has a magic mirror and some dynamite along with some health potions. That's actually a very good find. Unfortunately, I found myself getting a little bit too close to hell to the point where fire imps would spawn in and they immediately started touching me inappropriately, which made me fucking die. Now back at the base, I smelt all my iron and all the stuff that I found down in the caves to make myself a full set of armor. It's 2 pieces of iron and 1 piece of silver. I mean, I'm not gonna get the set bonus, but anything fucking helps at this point. Now, after doing all that, I go out on an adventure to kill many eyeballs so I can collect their lenses so I can craft that into an Eye of Cthulhu spawner. Now, in this version, instead of 6, you need 10, so I got to do a little bit more killing, but at the end of the day, it wasn't so hard to get all the lenses needed, but I mean, still a struggle. While on my eyeball killing spree, I end up finding the dungeon, which is pretty cool because now I know it's on the right side of my world. And also, if you notice, it's a nice bright green. I miss when dungeons were this color. I always liked this. Now they're all dull and boring. After gaining enough lenses, I end up building an arena for the Eye of Cthulhu. I build it nice, short, and sweet because I'm expecting this to be an easy battle, but you'll never fucking guess what the game has in store for me. Ignoring my impending doom aside, I go down to my local demon altar to craft a suspicious looking eye, and then I make all the necessary preparations by building an arena, getting arrows, and getting shurikens. I'm over here thinking it's gonna be a fucking easy fight. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, but no, things just can't go my way in this playthrough at all, can it? I sit at my arena waiting in anticipation to beat this fucking eyeball's ass. I am ready to absolutely clap his cheeks until a fucking blood moon rises and it makes my life 10 times fucking harder than it has to be. Now, I could wait 24 minutes to fight the boss, but I'm stubborn. And also, I recorded this during football season, and I approximately had practice in another hour, so I could not wait 24 minutes. I didn't have 24 minutes. Now, the fight actually was going pretty well for the first few minutes until it just wasn't. I ended up getting my fucking ass kicked. I mean, it wasn't even really the boss fight that killed me. It was just a bunch of extra enemies that were coming at me just from the blood moon alone, and it was the blood moon that fucked me. It really was. I was super pissed off. Now, did I cry? Did I weep? Yes. But no, I gotta get back on that fuck, ow, damn. We gotta get back on that fucking grind set. And the grind set involves us collecting a bunch of fucking more. We gotta collect more lenses because it's a blood moon and a bunch of balls are gonna spawn. We gotta go touch the balls and we gotta collect the balls essence, which are lenses. We gotta get 10 more of them, and we're gonna spawn another Eye of Cthulhu so we can actually have another chance at the fucking fight. Now, after I have successfully collected 10 lenses during the blood moon, during the morning, to waste some time till the nighttime, I decided to go to the corruption so I can start collecting rotten chunks and also vile mushrooms so I can create an Eater of Worlds spawner so I can start preparing for that guy as well. Now, after doing all of that, I spawned the Eye of Cthulhu once again once it turned nighttime, and this time I absolutely kicked its ass. I mean, come on, like, it's the normal mode Eye of Cthulhu. It's the easiest boss ever. Maybe pre 1.4 King Slime is easier, but I'm just saying, like, this fight was a breeze. As a person who's been playing Terraria for about 10 years now, I mean, like, come on, the Eye of Cthulhu fight, it's always a breeze. If you die to this guy, you're just probably bad at the game. Right after killing the Eye of Cthulhu, I go to my anvil to see what I can craft. I debate on crafting a demon bow or a light's bane, but then I ultimately decide on the light's bane because I feel like that would be more useful to me in the long run since I already have a gold bow. The morning after, I build another house so that the dryad may move in, and so she can sell us that sweet, sweet purification powder. Because if you didn't know, in this version, corruption blocks could not be broken with bombs as opposed to the current version. You needed to kill the Eye of Cthulhu and have the dryad move in so you can get that sweet purification powder so that you may go break your orbs. And that is exactly what I did. As soon as the dryad moved in, I went over to her and bought tons of purification powder. And then I went over to the corruption so I can get my hands on a sweet musket by breaking one of the orbs. Now, before making preparation for the Eater of Worlds, I decided to take a nice hop down into hell just to see what it is like in this version. And I realized very quickly that this place is actual fucking hell, and it's shit. I immediately fucking died to this giant ass bone worm and 3 imps gangbanging me from the front and from the back, pushing me into lava and sending me back to where I fucking came from. Now, after my death, I think, you know what, it is now time to fight the Eater of Worlds, so I go over to the merchant so I can buy a nice amount of grenades so I can blow this Eater of Worlds out to the next solar system. Once I get to my corruption arena, I immediately spawn the Eater of Worlds using the worm food that I have crafted moments before, and I start going to work on the Eater of Worlds with my grenades. However, this is the worst possible fucking strategy that I could use because it quite literally starts to backfire on me, taking away half my health, and then I end up lasting literal fucking seconds against the Eater of Worlds in the fight, and I fucking die. I literally die in like within not even a minute. Back at my base, all down in the dumps and defeated, I decide that I need more heart crystals, so I go back into the caves until I start hearing boss music again, and for some fucking reason, the Eater of Worlds decides that it just hasn't had enough of me. It comes all the way from the corruption and just kills me again. After I spawn once again, I go back to my chest to try to grab my grenades that I've put back previously, but I die fucking immediately because the Eater of Worlds just refuses to despawn. Now, while I am trapped in a temporary death loop, I realize that this is both a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because I'm gonna keep fucking dying until I get prepared, but also a blessing because I know now that the Eater of Worlds will not despawn until it is defeated, so that will play to my benefit because I know I will eventually defeat the boss. After a couple of more deaths, I'm able to make it back to my arena with all the stuff needed to fight the Eater of Worlds, and I actually start putting some work in on the Eater of Worlds after a couple more deaths, but little by little I'm able to chip away at his health and eventually defeat the damn thing. Now, after defeating the boss, I go back to my crafting station so that I may smelt all the demonite ore, and it ended up giving me 17 bars, and now with them 17 bars, I am able to craft a nightmare pickaxe. Now, before we continue, I just want to point out a very cool feature in this version, in that every time you kill the Eater of Worlds, it drops a piece of the shadow armor. Now, I really love this feature because it makes you not have to kill the Eater of Worlds a billion times just to get all the pieces of shadow armor. But, I mean, it's just a really cool feature that I thought I'd point out. Back in the mines with my new and improved nightmare pickaxe, I go and mine some obsidian with the wishful thinking that I would eventually make molten armor. And newsflash, I never make fucking molten armor. After mining the obsidian, I go back to the surface to look for my meteorite that has just landed, and I eventually find it, but then I realize mining meteorite in this version is fucking hell because these little meteorite guys just don't, they just don't stop spawning. So I decide to abandon the whole meteorite mining idea and take a nice trip to hell so I can get some sweet hellstone so I can make some powerful molten armor that I was thinking about when I was mining the obsidian. Now obviously I learned fucking nothing from my last trip from hell because imps simply do not stop spawning. I could not catch a break to mine a single piece of hellstone at all. So I decided to completely abandon the Hellstone armor idea and go fight the Eater of Worlds until I am able to make a full set of Shadow armor because the Eater of Worlds cannot despawn, and if I fight him enough times I'll eventually be able to get the full set. After a couple more fights with the Eater of Worlds, I'm able to craft the Shadow chest plate, which completely decks my armor out in Shadow gear. The next upgrade to my arsenal that I set my eyes upon was the Blade of Grass, and as you can see here I'm trying to find out if it's even in this version, and in fact it is. To craft the Blade of Grass in this version I needed 40 jungle roses, a silver broadsword, and 20 stingers. And I already had the 20 stingers, and I already could make a silver broadsword. So all I needed to do was go collect 40 jungle roses, which were pretty easy because they look like that. And they're abundant fucking everywhere, so it was pretty easy. After not a lot of time, I'm able to craft the sword, and it does a whopping 28 damage, which is really good in this version because the previous sword I had only did around 15, so that was a huge upgrade that was really needed. So after that last upgrade, I realized that it was now time to complete the game and fight Skeletron, so I start work on a nice medium-sized arena. I don't think I needed a big arena because I mean Skeletron is Skeletron, and I mean it's 1.0, so you know it's not like he's about to do any fancy shit. He's just as easy as he is in today's version. As I'm waiting for nighttime so I can spawn Skeletron, the King Slime comes out of nowhere and starts fucking assaulting me. Now this boss was very easy because I am completely overpowered at this point in the game for King Slime. Now it really is a blessing that he spawned because I wasn't gonna fight him anyway, but since he spawned I decided to fight him, and boy, he was so easy. All I had to do was just tickle his balls from under the platform with my Blade of Grass, and he collapsed eventually. It was a very easy fight, but glad he spawned so I can get that 1.0 experience. Now that the baby mode fight was over, it's time for the real man's fight. So I spawn Skeletron and start going ham with my flaming arrows straight to his dome. Skeletron in 1.0 was not a challenge at all. I mean, I just kind of breezed right past him. I mean, the fight did take around 6 minutes because, I mean, I had a demon bow and I didn't really have, like, the best armor and, you know, materials to fight him at this point in time. But, I mean, I was still able to pull it off, and it was just easy because, like I said before, there's no potion sickness in this game. Or, well, there is, but it's only for like 15 seconds, so even if he hits me, I could just heal up right away. So that made Skeletron very, very easy. After defeating Skeletron, there really isn't much to do in 1.0 but explore the dungeon, and usually I would just end it right now, but I was kind of curious, so I went and explored the dungeon. Surprisingly, in this version, the dungeon is not much different from the current day. I mean, maybe the enemy spawns are a little bit more frequent, and it is kind of, I feel like it is tougher than the current versions, but other than that, I mean, like, it wasn't too much different. I did have a hard time traversing and all that, but I mean, other than that, I mean, it felt pretty much the same overall. After that, my 1.0 adventure was pretty much over, and I just want to thank you guys so much for sticking through the video. I know this is like kind of a weird video that I'm making because I usually don't make these kind of videos, but I just kind of wanted to try something different, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Now, I will be streaming 1.1 when I get around to doing that. It will be on my Twitch at twitch.tv/xinova live. If you guys want to check that out, it's in the link in the description. I don't know when I'm going to do it, so make sure you follow so you can know when I'm actually doing it. But thank you guys so much for watching. God bless and have a great day.